Hey everyone, and welcome back to another WoW video. Here's the deal, BFA is really close, so we're going to talk about things that you, I think, should do before the expansion itself releases on the 14th of August, some things to think about doing before the pre-patch, and also some stuff to do if you're bored, and a few things that I think are just a good idea to check out anyway. So let's kick it off with stuff that's going to be removed with the pre-patch. Both the Ahead of the Curve Argus and Cutting Edge Argus, for defeating Argus, Heroic, and Mythic respectively, are going to be impossible once the pre-patch drops. Similarly, in line with this, the current PvP season is going to end when the pre-patch launches, which will mean that you won't be able to earn that really sweet-looking elite PvP gear, but you probably don't have too much time yet in that. Now, the class changes do somewhat impact combat, and that means that the Proving Ground is going to be considered a new season, so you're not going to be able to earn the Legion Proving Ground achievements. Then the Brawlers Guild is not going to be immediately available upon the launch of BFA. It's probably going to make it back in, but if you have any Legion-era Brawlers Guild stuff, now is the time to do that. Now, in an old draft of this video, I mentioned things like completing Keystone Master to unlock the relevant artifact skin. This is actually no longer needed. The Battle for Azeroth version of the Keystone Master achievement, which is going to exist in the next expansion, it's actually going to be good for the purposes of unlocking the Legion artifact skin. Then as for the Mage Tower, well, we were initially all recommending completing them ASAP. However, Blizzard are going to have the Mage Tower be open 100% of the time soon. They said that it will be available constantly up until the end of Legion. Now, we're not really sure if this means the pre-patch or the release date of BFA. Now, of course, completing the Legion Mage Towers with the BFA class changes and artifacts that have lost their power, that would be really weird. And technically, the pre-patch does bring the game to version 8.0, which is Battle for Azeroth, not Legion. So I would imagine they're going to activate the Mage Towers really quite soon. So you'll probably have like just a solid 2 weeks to completely grind through them. You'll also want to get any Strand of the Ancients achievements, which, I mean, someone might want that, or just any Ashran content that you want to do. You want to get that done before the pre-patch. They're both going to be retired, but it seems like Ashran is going to come back in a slightly different format, perhaps with the epic Battleground system along with Wintergrasp and Tol Barad. Next, let's talk about stuff that's going to be removed with the launch of BFA. So the following things are stuff to do before BFA launches on the 14th of August, and this time will mark the end of the questline that gets you the Violet Spellwing mount. It is also when the drop rates for Mythic raid mounts is going to go significantly down. There clearly isn't enough time to get a full raid team kitted out with them because of the drop numbers, but they are a guaranteed drop on Mythic for the next while, so you want to get in that. Now, I also recommend just generally doing any of your Legion business that heavily relies on other players being active. So this includes things like, say, Talon's Vengeance with its PvP element, the Dalaran Underbelly PvP content as well, perhaps Legion World bosses, but I imagine they'll be soloable by like 8.1 or, you know, like 8.2 and whatever. It shouldn't be too long until you can solo those. Anyway, just remember that once Legion takes over to BFA, less people will be in the Legion zones, and also the Legion zones will be added to the regular CRZ system, which is going to make some farming a bit more tricky than it currently is, so bear that in mind. And I'm kind of thinking, you know, stuff like, say, the long-forgotten Hippogriff. So really a lot of it is raid mounts, raid achievements, get your Mage Towers, and then just a few other concerns and things that really are a lot easier to do now than they will be later on for logistical reasons. Next, I want to talk about gold. I love gold making, especially the automated kind. Now, while Legion doesn't have a Warlords of Draenor light garrison situation, you can get a surprising amount of daily gold from your order haul. While the missions might only offer like 1k in the face of it, their bonus rewards are almost always like 1,500 gold. Now, there do seem to be diminishing returns on multiple characters, but you can use this to farm up a lot of gold, which will be handy on the BFA launch. For me, it's almost 1k per character per day, which is really awesome. Another thing that I would like to do, I probably won't have time, but I'd like to do it, is farming up Sky Golems to sell when BFA releases and crafting them through engineering, because there'll probably be a price spike, and really that's something you can apply to loads of markets that have evergreen things that don't really devalue over time. Now, as for your current expansion mats, get rid of them, but thankfully, market conditions are going to be great right up until the end of Legion, because people are going to be rushing to complete their Mage Towers. So all of your herbs and stuff, they'll still be worth quite a lot, and you'll be able to make some tidy bank in that. Next, let's talk about just some stuff to do that I think you should do to get ready for the launch. I would recommend getting a bunch of kits together for your characters, so stuff like speed pots, water pots, gliders, the usual suspects for leveling in a new continent without flying. Your UI is also worth looking at in advance. I'll take another deep dive into my own setup and I'll share what that is like closer to the release date, but for now, I'd recommend just spend your downtime fixing up any lingering annoyances and stuff like that with your UI. You shouldn't have any compatibility any issues on day one, assuming your add-ons are in active development. I mean, I'm playing with a full UI on the BFA beta now, so you'll probably be fine. Also, leveling up new characters is a good thing to do at the minute. There is not much else to do, and this will certainly keep you busy until BFA. But knowing what class to level is kind of tricky. I've yet to do my full series of that. I'll be doing it soon. What you can do is hop onto the PTR, and everyone will have PTR access. Now, if the PTR client doesn't appear in your launcher, you can go into BNet, then account services, and create a PTR account. It'll then start the download process for the PTR, so I'd normally pause that, fully kill your BNet launcher, copy-paste your main WoW directory into the PTR folder, and then quickly restart Battle.net. It'll take BNet a second to sort itself out, but that'll save you pretty much a 40 gig download. Now, I do have a video on the main class changes that's pretty much up to date, and that'll give you a good idea of what to check out first. Of course, the PTR, just bear in mind, that'll be a very core look at the specs because you won't have Azeroth gear and all of that stuff. Now, if you want a bit of help tracking all of this stuff, you could just use a notepad, or you could use a proper task manager. I use OmniFocus 3 and Asana for various things. It can just be kind of handy to tick up all of your WoW goals, have them laid out, and actually do a schedule so that the timelines don't kind of miss you by. But there are also some add-ons that just do that in the game client. But now that I've really bored the pants of you with things such as add-on installation instructions, task managers, and PTR downloads, I'm going to quickly rhyme off some things that you could maybe do if you're just bored in the game. So, thing number one, working on your class mounts. Pretty good idea to do. There's a shed load of content there. It is of varying quality. There's some good stuff though, and it'll certainly be enough to keep you busy until BFA. You will be able to do this stuff in BFA, but why not do it now when you don't really have much else to do? Also, hidden artifact appearances. I'd recommend doing that, especially keeping track of the ones that require world boss uptime, and there'll be some links to guides down in the description. Then just Legion achievements, especially the dungeon ones. Some of those might be a bit easier to do now when there'll be other people looking for groups, but of course many of the hero achievements, they'll probably be soloable or two-manable in BFA, but there's just some that because of their mechanics you'll want to do with a more complete coordinated party now. And then while this is not an exciting thing to do, it's probably quite wise. Finding a guild. Getting on board for the start of an expansion is really good for getting into a guild, and the game is so much better with one. Now really is the time to do that, because when BFA comes out, most of the best guilds, the one that you'd actually want to be in, they'll be busy playing the game and probably not be doing big recruiting drives, so I really do recommend getting in that now, especially if you're not particularly happy with your current guild situation. And then just to round this off, I want to talk about other games that I've been playing. So, Frostpunk, I love it. It's been really awesome. God of War also has been, and Total War Warhammer 2, I just can't escape. Same goes for Thrones of Britannia, but a little bit less, though I do like it. Then for VR, I've been playing Beat Saber and Pavlov, which are both great. Stellaris has also really been, it's on my list of things to do because it's had loads of updates recently. I've also recently hopped back into Battlefield 4 because running around with a bow and a Desert Eagle is kind of silly. Then Kingdom Come Deliverance looked really promising from what I've played of it, and it very much is in my bucket list, along with Monster Hunter World and the remaster of Shadow of the Colossus, which I both own. So that's my two playlist over the summer, but I'm pretty sure my own game dev work and the coverage for BFA is going to get in the way of that, but that's just some games that I find interesting in case that's something you'd like to check out yourself. And that is it for this video. Pretty much that's what I would recommend doing with your spare World of Warcraft time now, or of course, if you're a bit bored of WoW, other things that you can do with other games. So, a massive thank you to you for watching this video, and to the patrons for all of their help over in the Patreon. You can check out the new posters. The newest one is so awesome, and we've also just, as the time of recording this, sent out our big shipment of the other ones, which has been really fun. I kind of felt like a Hogwarts postmaster at the end, if you look at the packaging and stuff that you put a whole bunch of effort into. But anyway, thanks for watching the video, massive thank you to the patrons, and I will see you guys next time.